Welcome to today's CareCast. We've been discussing Jean Vanier's book, Becoming Human, and I want to talk about a very specific concept of his today. What does it mean for us to move from exclusion to inclusion, from fear to trust? What does it mean for us to move from suspicion to curiosity? These are the movements that you and I have to make in order to have true care, true compassion for ourselves and for others. We have to move from exclusion to inclusion, from exclusion to embrace. It's the only way for you and I to belong. It's the only way for everyone else to belong. We have to shift from fear to trust. As I've been exploring these last many weeks, another word for trust is faith. Faith and trust and believe are all part of the same Greek root words in the New Testament. They all come from the same idea. When you and I shift from fear over to trust, over to faith, over to belief, it has this fundamental change, transformation, metamorphosis, conversion that happens inside of you and me. We become different kinds of people. We become abundant kind of people. We become eternal minded kind of people. This is the shift that you and I need in order to care. As I started out this CareCast at the beginning of the year in January, I started out in some basic prayer lists, right? Who are the lists of people that you and I need to care for? But I quickly realized that part of the thing that I'm encountering is we don't truly know how to care. We have inklings of it sometimes. And I would say, particularly as churches, like we tend to care around things that allow us to provide something pretty tangible, right? We can write a note, we can make a phone call, we can make a visit, we can make a meal. And all of those things are really, really wonderful things. Hear me out on this. Every one of those things are absolutely needed. But I think care also means more than all of that as well. Like those are the very tangible minimal steps that we need to take in order to care. But I think there's more than that in order to show true care, concern, and compassion for another person that takes us into deeper levels of care with people. And so as I started to wrestle with that, I said, we've got to study care. And any study of care and compassion is always going to take us to this place of looking at belonging, looking at how we exclude, looking at the ways that we exclude, looking at who we exclude, and then why do we exclude? We have this judgment, we have this fear, we have these hates, we have all this suspicion that builds up inside of us. And so what does it mean for us to move from those places to this other orientation, this orientation of inclusion, this orientation of empathy, this orientation of trust, this orientation of curiosity? And so as we begin to develop those particular values and the practices that go along with them, all of a sudden we find ourselves caring. We find ourselves having true compassion and showing that in lots of different ways. And so my hope over these next few weeks is that we will continue to dive a little deeper into these concepts and figure out how do we develop true inclusion, true belonging? How do we move from exclusion, right, over to this other place where someone is the very center of our care, concern, and compassion? Thanks for joining me today, friends. It's good to have you on this CareCast. Join us tomorrow for our sacred space prayer meditation. Thanks, everyone.